And we are live. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to Sunday Night Live with I'm Tom, the Sunday Dinner Chef, and we also have at Bloos Self Reliance. Blue, how you doing?
Wow, I'm good. I'm
Good.
awake.
I never realized about how the difference was, and I said to Maria, I said, you know what? This is the time of the night, 7:30 in Vegas is when I start stretching out a little bit.
Yeah, well,
But
we get up early anyway because Tani goes to work around about this time. So, yeah, I'm always up now anyway.
okay, so we got Megs in here, and also
Yay!
we have Teresa. Hello, Teresa. How you doing?
Hey,
They're talk,
TJ.
they're talking back and forth,
Yeah.
and I found out some disturbing news today. Matter of fact, I wanted to tell you a little while ago.
Mhm.
You know Nanny Tam, right?
Yeah.
She suffered a light stroke, and I hope she don't mind me saying that.
Oh no.
She had said I haven't been on in a while, and this and that. So I just said, I'm with you, kiddo. You know what I mean?
Oh, bless her. Big love
Uh,
to her.
now, if wrong one. Now that's Blue's channel. If you can, please hit that like and subscribe. She's just shy of 1,000. I think like 40 or so more. And the reason why we're doing this kind of chat on the Sunday Dinner Chef, is because I'm looking for watch hours, basically. So we did live on here. I'm not shy about none of that stuff.
I'm a prop.
So the both of us have an agenda. Let's put it that way.
I'm just good to talk to people. This is, if the subject is,
Yeah, I mean, and
yeah, I'm
and
always
what I'm looking to accomplish tonight is being a Blue is an herbalist. Okay, she knows her way around this stuff, and I am kind of naive about it. And we were talking a little while ago about um, different herbs and stuff like that, and the stuff that I've been on. So I think it's a good idea to understand whether we should be taking these things with our medications and stuff like that. So I think it's a good topic for tonight.
yeah.
Let's see here who we else. Let me go through who we're in here. Our
Oh
treasure at home. Hello,
no.
how you doing? Bat, hello.
Hi.
Okay, we got Simon's here. Yes, I
Mhm.
can. Our treasure at home. Everybody saying hello to one another. Okay, so what this came about was back in 2008. I was diagnosed with bladder cancer, and I was sort of just basically told to get my life affairs in order because it wasn't rolling well for what was going on. So scary, very scary to get that kind of And
Yeah.
at that point, people just go just about for anything. You know what I mean? Start pulling at straws. And I gotta be honest with you. I was the same way. I
Right.
was whatever we could do to stop it or whatever. So, and you had just enlightened me about being a type 2 diabetic. I was taking milk thistle because it is supposed to be really helpful for your liver.
Which it is.
And I when I started back taking it again, I could see the drop in the number. Not a lot, but you could
Mhm.
see that it was working.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just zip this for a minute and let you go about you know how to go about taking herbs and how to talk to your doctor about it, because I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. Um. Some there's a lot of doctors are not that happy about you taking herbal medicine because obviously, it's nothing to do with them. They don't know anything about it, and they're taught nowadays not to, you know, support them.
Indulge.
Which is really bad. I mean, they still have to take the Hippocratic Oath, and the biggest lesson that Hippocrates ever taught was let be food be your medicine and medicine be your food. And that means the herbs, that means the spices, that means you can start looking at your spice rack in a completely different way. you
Yeah.
know and what goes into your body is what happens to your body in a lot of ways. as well. So, you know, but herbal medicine is not something to be taken willy-nilly either. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there going, oh, you should take this, take that, take this, take that, take this, take that, but they don't take into consideration what your personal health situation is.
Yeah.
Okay, and that has a lot to do with what you can be prescribed or suggested to take or anything like that. You know, really, really important. If you ever go to a herbalist that doesn't spend an hour first off and requires your medical records and a history appointment first off, don't go to them. Don't do it. That's my personal opinion. They're not someone who's going to take you that seriously. They're just going to go, oh, here you go. You know.
Yeah, and there again, we're not doctors by no means, but I know what worked for me. But still, I have that little, not a fear, but the ignorance, I would imagine, of, oh, I'm going to take this and everything's going to be all right. So I mean, that's why when we talked about it, I said, well, I think this would be a good subject. To bring up.
Absolutely. I mean, if I don't see people I very, very rarely actually have patients or clients or whatever you want to say, because of that fact, is that they're not willing to, you know, share their information. Now, the problem is with that is that you're not going to get the best treatment for you that's specifically designed for you. If I gave, for example, we were talking earlier about milk thistle, and I would quite happily prescribe that to you without a problem. Whereas if you were a 27-year-old woman, I would have to put down certain times of the month that you can take it and other times you can't. So for women, they'll just take it within 7 days of their cycle or within days of the next beginning. So you've only got a 2-week period where it's actually safe for women to take it. And I used to take it. Not gonna lie, I did take it, but that's where I found out that I had other issues going on, because every time I took it, there would be an issue of proportions that were seriously not right. Yeah. So sometimes herbal medicines can actually show you that there's an issue. It still took 18 months for the doctors to listen to me.
Yeah. See, I'm a big skeptic when it comes to multivitamins and stuff like that. I mean, as far as you know, getting the cheapest one on the market and taking it, nothing that it's bad for you or anything like that. But if it's not, you know, produced well, I think that could be a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
If I get supplements or things like that, I get mine from a place called pipingrock.com.
Okay.
I've never had an issue with them. I've never had anyone have an issue with them. They're available worldwide, and they will deliver them to your door. So, and they always have deals. Always have deals. I tend to buy my supplements that I take, particularly on a yearly basis, because they do 2-for-1 deals, and their bottles have like 200 tablets in them.
Yeah, that's what I do now.
You know,
and because of the type 2 diabetes that I have, I try to research things out as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I also take the Sajiwa stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
That is, we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah.
Take this milk thistle. I also take vitamin D3, and I also take magnesium glycinate. That's it.
Yeah. I take triple complex magnesium, but I also take feverfew tablets because I am prone to cluster migraines.
Okay.
And cluster migraines are things that just you don't want. You don't want them ever, 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 ever. I used to get 3 or 4 a week.
Wow.
And I was literally walking around in a brain fog because they subside, but I'd still have the ghosting of it as the new one was coming up, and it was making it to a point where I couldn't function.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started taking feverfew tablets, which are actually sold in this country as they're one of the very few herbal supplements or medicines that is actually sold for its purpose. And that's migraine medication. And, that's actually on the box of some that you can get. But like I said, I go to a different site to get them because they're cheaper for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get a year's worth for the price of 1 month's worth at a health food shop or, that kind of place. So
I do most of my, I get most of my stuff. Well, this came out, this one here, the Sajibo stuff. And I was getting the original made by Ring Case, okay, Renee Case from Canada. She developed this stuff, but her tea and her capsules twice is what I pay for this one. But this has the same blend. I don't know if it's the same blend, but it seems to be working. And but
awesome.
I mean, you can get caught up with buying stuff. You know what I mean? With
and there's a lot of fake stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of fake information. I recently did a video on the most dangerous book I'd ever bought. Thank you, darling. Magic coffee.
Nice.
I like magic coffee. Magic coffee is good. So I did this video on this book that I bought. It was a book that has been around since, as far as I know, since the 70s or 80s. Okay, and it was about the secret garden, lost herbal remedies and all this kind of stuff. So I thought I'd buy it. And I was a little bit dodgy about it. There's been a lot of these books floating around on places like Facebook Marketplace, and Facebook itself have got a lot of ads and stuff that are coming up for these books. And it was like, I'm going to try it and have a look. And honestly, it's definitely an AI version of the original.
Okay.
There's a lot of AI written books out there at the moment, and they are downright dangerous. They don't have the correct information. They don't have the correct pictures in place of where they're supposed to be. Yeah, which is quite dangerous. If you're looking, because that particular book is supposed to do with being able to pick your own and collect your own herbs as well. So it's supposed to have pictures in it so you can recognize those. And they had things like, they're weirdest. You got to see it to actually believe it. It was incredible. So
what a shame.
I thought it was really important to put out that video to make people aware that this is not necessarily the book that they're looking for. And if it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
That's the scary thing right there. I mean, even buying supplements or herbs like this, okay, you're taking your life in your own hands if you don't really do the research on the company and other aspects of it. Scary stuff.
Oh, it can be absolutely terrifying. There's always been cases of people selling not correct herbal medications and just handing them out to people like lollies, and it's like no.
Hey, no. When I was a teenager, I fell for that stuff because I bought I think they call it a nickel bag of oregano. Felt like I was smoking a pizza.
Well,
but
won't do you any harm.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I started after I smoked it. I think I started speaking Italian, but
Ah, well, you know, that's fun. But you know, I mean, herbal medicine is what we've always had.
yeah,
Let's be honest. That's what's been around for millennia. That's what we've relied on for millennia. It's still relied on in many, many countries, more so than Western medicine,
right.
which is not a bad thing. I think around 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, there was a shaman and healer in the Amazon who I'm not sure if it was his son or a relative, helped him write down all of the medicinal properties of the plants he knew, and this book is like 500 pages long. It's not like a little supplemental book. This thing is like huge.
Right.
So I mean, like, if I could ever get a copy of that, that would be my that would be brilliant.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in you should know more about the herbs that are native to you than those that are native around the world, right? So because if some kind of thing happened, unless you can grow it yourself,
Yeah.
if some kind of thing happened where you couldn't have access to it and you're reliant on something that isn't native to where you're living, that's kind of, you know,
the, the sad part about it is most of the herbs and stuff that were back in the day, I guess, that's how medicine started. I mean, you know, from
well, it was medicine, you
yeah,
know.
from that standpoint. But now you have a lot of MDs who are saying, stay away from that junk. Don't need. We need to give you this. You
Yeah,
know?
because they're paid to.
Yeah, I mean,
It was only 100 years ago that that medicine became Western medicine.
Yeah.
And that was because the Rockefellers bought the universities.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones who turned around and said, "Oh no, this has got to. We need to make some money out of the pharmaceutical industry, so we need to teach our doctors to be pushing all these medications." So they took out all of the herbal medicine and all of the natural therapies and all of the stuff to do with diet and nutrition and everything like that, got taken out of the learning at the universities and became complementary therapies. Well, in this country, if you want to practice herbalism, you can do it. But if you want to be taken seriously, then you get yourself qualified. You know, you get yourself qualified, and that way you can be insured. If you're not qualified, you can't be insured because, you know.
Yeah. So this stuff I take here, okay, it has a history behind it with me from 2011, I guess it was, that I've been taking it. And the fact of the matter is that in my mind, and also I had told you the story earlier. I had bladder cancer. I had a crap load of tumors that were taken out in a three-year course, and I was told to get my affairs in order. And I was that to me was rock bottom. I mean, that was, you start thinking. I'm looking at Marie. What's going to happen to her? If something happens to me, you know, you go through that circle. And this older gentleman and his wife lived down the street from me. And when I say down the street in North Carolina, they're like 3 or 4 miles away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And he purposely came. And I love the people in North Carolina because they just stopped. I was very rural. Okay. Mm-hmm. He just stopped in the middle of the road, his truck, put it in park, got out of the car and waved me down and gave me this pamphlet about this stuff right here. And I told you earlier, quick story, his wife used to wear a hat with a shroud around it to hide her neck. Mm. And come to find out, she had a big look. It actually looked like a tennis ball on her neck.
Yeah.
And same scenario, get your affairs in order, the whole bit. There's nothing else we can do for you. So she wound up going to a chiropractor who actually has no problem handing out herbal stuff or telling you about herbal stuff here.
Yeah. Okay. They're the ones we want to find.
Right. And he gave me this stuff, and I gave it to Marie. Here, you read it, whatever. And I went out finish cutting the grass because I had 17 acres of ground that we grew our own stuff on. So all of a sudden, about 10 or 15 minutes later, Marie's out in front porch and she's waving to me the whole bit. Come in. You got to see this stuff. You got to try it. So anyway, long story short, I got it. Pending another surgery, okay, because they found another tumor. I go back to the doctor in October. He said, come back. It was too small in August. Come back in October. We'll re-examine it and we'll set it up if we can take it out, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I started taking this tea and it was nasty. I had to hold my nose to drink it. You know what I mean? And and the residuals, they look like mud. And the residuals from it, you could put on your hands and stuff. I mean, it's just crazy. I go back to the doctor. Long story short is couldn't find the tumor. So that was like a hallelujah moment for me. And I told him what I was doing because he asked me.
Yeah.
And he wasn't allowed to say anything to me about continue taking it. But when he left the room, then he came back in and he said, whatever you're doing, keep doing. And closed the door. So bingo. Yeah. So that was it with me. And that's why, I had asked you about I'd like to discuss tonight about different herbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously I'm an herbalist, but I'm also a naturopath as well. So I am all in for natural therapies, but I want people to understand that they need to be taken as seriously as medication. Like the stuff that doctors give you, you need to do research. You can't just start taking stuff. And the stuff that I suggest on my channel is mostly stuff for coughs and colds that people grow in their garden, okay, that don't have a lot of issues. Some of the most popular and widely accepted herbal medicines have some of the biggest side effects. Like, for example, St. John's wort. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love that stuff. It's wonderful if you can take it. But probably 75% of people can't take it.
I've heard that.
It has major issues with Western pharmaceuticals. And it will mess up other health issues, So there's very small percentage of people who can actually take it without having other issues. So, it's looking at these and going, okay, that sounds great. Now I need to start doing my research or find someone who can do it for me.
Yeah. And on the screen here also, I put up Bloos' YouTube channel. Ken, hit her up. She had a great video out today, by the way.
Thank you.
I left you a message on there. So
you did. I saw that. Yeah, I thought it was a fun one to do, actually.
Very interesting too. And we'll get into that a little later on. But like the fact of now, the one doctor I see actually told Marie, if you want to do, because of cholesterol problems. I have a big issue with that with cholesterol. To me, I mean, if your body is making that, why do you have to delete what you're doing with it? You know what I mean? So she told Marie if you want to do it naturally, try red yeast rice. And I just said,
what?
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. So Marie said,
there are over 400 types of rice in the world, so it's nice of them to pluck one out of the ether.
Yeah. Well, and then you see, if you go on for cholesterol, for natural ways and stuff like that, you see this a lot. But it does also have side effects.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And they seem to on herbal stuff, they seem to push the issue with a natural rather than the medication.
Yeah.
Okay. No, you got to take this pill rather than that. Don't rely on that stuff. So,
no.
Yeah.
No, everything has its place. Don't get me wrong, everything has its place. I'm not saying people have to give up their medications they're on if they're working for them. Yay, good for you. I'm really pleased for you. There's a lot of people that they don't work for, and then they tend to start piling them on because you're having this, instead of taking it away and trying something different, they'll either up or down the dosage or add something to it to take away that side effect. And my sister's been found in this situation where she's on this roundabout now, where she's taking, I think, around about 27 different medications. They want her on a different type of treatment at the hospital as well. So that's like, what, 28? She's taking almost 50 tablets a day.
That's insane.
Which is absolute insanity. You know, and she's like, oh, I don't want to play this game anymore. You know, and I don't blame her. You know. So the problem is that a lot of these medications that they put you on, your body is then addicted to it. Well, then you've got to come off it like you would do if you had any other kind of addiction. But pharmaceutical addictions are horrific, properly horrific.
And I mean, I was unbelievable. You know, with the bladder cancer and stuff like that, I tried just about everything. Okay. And then, by the way, okay, in 2008, when I was getting my BCG treatments for the bladder cancer, okay, one treatment was 6 weeks long. All right. Yeah. So, in my third time, so this is almost getting into almost a year, okay, of taking this treatment. They come busting through the door one day, and Mr. Garvey, before we do the treatment, we have to test your blood sugar. I never had blood sugar issues. I never had type 2 diabetes. What are you talking about? Okay. Well, this BCG treatment that you're taking back in the day was for tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Okay. Shrinks tumors and stuff, whatever. But if your blood sugar is high, we can't do it. Sure than hell, they popped my finger. 240 was the number. This is going to be on my podcast that I'm doing later on. I'll be on after midnight. And the doctor comes busting through the door and he says, Tom, I'm sorry, but we can't do this treatment no more. Okay. Maybe we might talk about chemotherapy and stuff like that. And that blew my mind that's how I wound up with type 2 diabetes. Yeah. From that point on. Scary, very scary. So absolutely. to get hit with a double whammy, you know what I mean? And being told, hey, guess what? Not only do you have cancer and get your affairs in order, but now, you might need insulin. So, I mean, it's just
well, that's it. And where you are, you have to pay for that. And that is stupid money for insulin. You look at the price of insulin, from what I've heard, it's what, $1,000 a month or something,
totally.
And that's like, hang on a second. If it's that life-saving, why are you making so much money off it?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
And here is the.
I look at stuff like that and I think, do you know what?
And that's why I go for the alternative.
Yeah, there's an epidemic at the moment of everyone being diagnosed with diabetes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, to a degree, it can, like, insulin resistance can build up in your body over years, okay, of not eating well or, stuff like that. And then eventually it turns into type 2 diabetes if it goes that way. But now they're saying, like, this does it and that does it and something else does it. And it's like, well, what does it? How is it that all of these different things culminate to this one disease, which has one of the most expensive medications on the planet, and everyone's being diagnosed with it?
Yeah.
What?
So I went to the doctor on last Friday. Okay. And I see a PA because me and my original doctor don't get along. Okay. So I see the PA. Okay. We sort of lock horns with it. So I get my blood work back. Okay. And everything is just tweaked a little bit. Okay. Yeah. I don't take statins anymore. I got off the statins.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on a blood pressure pill, diabetic medication, and one from my ESIAC because they put in a small stent back in 2015, and I've been on it ever since. Yeah. Can't get off it. All right. Yeah. So she said, but your blood sugar is crazy. Now, I've been doing carnivore for the past five weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. And guess what? My blood sugar is back down
Well,
below
you're not having
200.
sugar, so
Yeah. So,
yeah.
but here's what she said to me. Maybe we should put you on insulin because of you are insulin resistant. Maybe your insulin's not working. We'll put you on an insulin. And I looked at her. I said, hold on a minute, please. You're not making any sense to me. I says, how do you know if I'm insulin resistant? If I'm too high or too low? How do you know that without a test? And she got real quiet. And she says, I will ask for to have you have a test it for your insulin. I said, so if I'm not making enough insulin, okay, that would be type 1. All right. But if the sugar's too high and the insulin's not catching up to it, maybe it is too high. We don't know. But I need to know that number in between so we can work on it that way.
Yeah.
So then she said, well, your cholesterol's real high.
Well, that doesn't mean nothing.
Well, no, and exactly what I said to her. I said, well, I'm not going back on a pill. I said, that's for sure. We already crossed that bridge.
Yeah.
So the best thing I seen was I do my own research, okay, and going about my life. So my cholesterol was it was at 151 and starting with the carnivore and up a little higher, okay, whatever. Yeah. But not much higher than 200 is the number, and they keep moving the goalpost.
Yes.
Back in the early 60s it was 300, and then 70s to 80s was 250, and then now 200. Now they want it below 150.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? You know
exactly.
What I mean?
And the other thing is as well, that's not a consistent number across the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Our numbers are somewhere between 1 and 12, 1 and 15. So we have different numbers over here. So when you guys are talking about in the hundreds, we're talking about, you should be at around about somewhere between 6 and 7, maybe 8, absolute outside. And, what you're talking about is probably 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's borderline. This is the thing. Like I have a friend, very good friend, who went to the doctor because she had a UTI. Okay. Now, it was bad enough. She left it because she's absolutely petrified of the doctors. She's absolutely, she doesn't like going to them unless she absolutely can't, has no other choice. Doctor sent her to the hospital. Okay. The hospital found some kind of protein that shouldn't be there and decided that she had diabetes. Ignored the infection, and she was bounced from the hospital to the walk-in center to the doctors and back again, and did that cycle 2 or 3 times in a week, to the point where the UTI was still ignored until she was bleeding because they were so focused on this diabetes, which the diabetes nurse said, I don't even know what their problem is because it's not that high. Now, if you have an infection, your blood sugar is going to spike anyway because your natural glucagon stores are feeding your white blood cells. So it's going to be producing more. You're going to have that blood spike, which is why when people are type 1 diabetic and they do get infections, it can be deadly.
Yeah.
But you have to be a type 1 diabetic for that to happen. And just a normal person who's going in for an infection, and they've got her on all sorts of stuff now, and she's freaking out.
Tell her about the Cipro I did to me.
Mm-hmm. So my wife's reminding me, she's in the next table over from me, and she's reminding me of when I did have bladder cancer. Okay, they gave me, I would say for the until they come across that it was making people's legs fall apart, tendons. Yeah. I was on a 30-day supply of Cipro.
Yeah.
Antibiotic. Okay. Now all of a sudden they stopped handing that out because you know why? People's tendons in their legs were snapping.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So, oh no, we can't give that to you no more. Every time I had it, because I would get UTIs with the bladder cancer, like forget about it.
Well, of course you would.
Yeah. So my doctor, he was a good guy and everything like that, but he would hand them out. Rather than you calling me for 7-day supplies, I'll just give you 30, not to take every day, but
Yeah.
if you do have a problem, take them, take them at will. All right. So that was kind of crazy to do that. So with all the stuff that was going on with me the whole bit, like I said, I started doing a lot of research on different items to take, what not to take with so-and-so pills and stuff. But it was all frowned upon
Yeah.
to take not a supplement, but like an herb. Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Don't take that. Don't take that stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of, even with the high cholesterol, they're coming to find out now. There's more and more doctors saying it's bogus.
Yeah.
There are 3 doctors right now who are they were on last night. Dr. Ken Berry. I can't think of the other guy's name, but Dr. Westman. Dr. Westman's out of Duke University, and he runs a clinic there where people who are going in for laparoscopic surgery,
Yeah.
well, if they're too heavy for them to do that, they send them to him.
Right.
And 90%, that's just his numbers. 90% of the people don't get the surgery going on, low carb stuff like, and I don't mean low carb, just carnivore and stuff. I mean with vegetables and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But cutting it out, and he's got a great support system. So now they have a big fight right now going on with the ADA over here. Okay, American Diabetes Association. They're starting up a new program. Stop lying to the people, and it's called American Diabetes Society.
Yeah.
Telling you, cut out the pills, don't take this, don't take that. And I thought it was pretty interesting to see finally, I don't know how far they'll get because they're outnumbered as far as money-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now, getting back to you with the herbs and stuff. About growing your own, and I know a lot of people are tight with money right now and stuff. So the extracting that kind of stuff, or different
Extracts are
vegetables.
really easy to make for yourself.
What was that?
Extracts are really easy to make for yourself.
Okay, hear that, everybody?
Okay, if you're able to make vanilla extract with vodka and vanilla beans, pretty much all you have to do to make an extract of something else, except you're using the leaves or the roots or whatever part of the herb that is used to make that extract.
Interesting.
Okay, so and that's your extract, literally.
Wow.
It is important. Like there are that one of the pieces of equipment that I spoke about on my video from yesterday. That is the one that I would use to make essential oils with.
Was that the red one? Was that
Yeah,
that red
the little purple one. He's gorgeous, isn't it?
Oh, I watched the whole thing. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm interested in that kind of stuff because you know what? If the poop does hit the fan with anything, okay, this is good stuff to know.
Yeah, this is why you get, essences and extracts are in tiny little bottles like this, because any more than that and it knock you sideways. They don't tell you that it's got boo in it. I don't have a lot of herbal stuff on my YouTube channel because I've tried to do that and I've had it removed because it went against community standards. I do have another channel that I will be doing more with. At the moment, we're waiting for our internet to be sorted out because we have 3-legged hamsters on old medieval wooden wheels over here trying to run the internet. So we need, they're changing the wires and they're changing the cables and all that kind of stuff. And then I will be putting that stuff on that particular site because they don't have a problem with it as long as you know what you're talking about and you're not spouting out a load of rubbish. I understand that there are people out there who do a lot of herbal medicine stuff, and there are a couple that I watch and I love them to death.
There
and good
was
for them.
there was somebody from, I think, from Hong Kong, I believe. I can't remember his name right now, but he connected with me on the keto channel, and that's what he does.
Mhm.
And then he has patients that he delivers it to.
Yes.
So you see him making his stuff, and then he goes out and delivers it.
Yeah, I
So
love Chinese medicine. Chinese medicine is amazing. And we're
Yeah.
not talking about the whole rhino horn situation, because that's a load of rubbish and it's done by unscrupulous people. It's not proper Chinese medicine,
Yeah.
but Chinese doctors, like Chinese medicine and doctors, etc., they do the same thing I do. They go through your medical history. They ask you specific questions. They do that before they even think about prescribing you anything. But the other thing is as well, if you go to places like China and you go and see the Chinese doctor, they will send your prescription to the shop next door, which is attached to them. The shop next door is a restaurant.
There
And
is,
they will make your medicine there and then, and you will take it as a meal.
so so here's the deal. If anybody wants to see this, okay, go on YouTube and look up Anthony Bourdain. Okay,
Yes.
he traveled all around. He went to a place, I believe it was in Hong Kong. I believe
it was. Yeah.
Okay, and that's exactly. He went and seen the doctor, and then he came out and they fed him.
Yes.
Exactly what he needed. He brought the paper. That's very interesting that you brought that up, because
Can I just say that when I did it, I had probably 18 months of the best health I'd ever had.
It's amazing.
And I only went there once.
Wow.
So, whether that was just in my mind because it was such a really cool experience, I don't know. Whatever it was, I don't care.
Now,
that was 18 months of the best health I'd ever had.
So now I have people, contact me, friends of mine. Okay, I just don't say nothing to anybody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
About what I went through, and what I did, how I did it, because I was chasing my tail with 14 medications. Okay.
Yeah.
5 of them raised my blood sugar.
Yeah.
Okay. I had 4 different meters to test my blood sugar. All of them gave me a different reading.
Yeah.
That's dangerous, because if it's high, okay, according to your reading, that's how you dole out your insulin.
Yeah.
Okay. They're playing with people's lives, exactly what they're doing. But I have people that I turn around and say, hey, listen, me personally, I don't take a statin anymore because the side effects are too crazy. So here's what I do. Blah, blah, blah. Watch my channel. Here's how I eat, the whole bit. But now the story is that being that way I eat, okay, that it raises your cholesterol and also your bad LDL, all right, or lowers it. So over here, the number is 40, okay?
Right.
And she told me your number is too low for the LDL. I said, well, what is it? I already knew. She said it's 39. I said, I think when they would take my blood, I sneezed. So that might have had something to do with it. You're just pushing and pushing the pills. And there again, I don't want to get in trouble for this. I don't want to get nobody in trouble for this. But do your research. Really sit down and I would suggest going to an herbalist if you can find one, just to get an idea of your history, of your medical history. Let them delve into that.
Yeah, it is something that you really do need to research, and you need to make sure that you see the people that actually know what they're talking about. Because it's just as important as seeing a doctor. You don't go and see a doctor that's got an office in the back of the chip shop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously they're doing really dodgy stuff around there. So you want to go and see someone who's either, working from their home or whatever. But it's the point is that a proper herbalist will first off require an hour-long session to start off with, where you may not be prescribed anything at all.
Right.
Because they need to then go and research you. They need
Yeah.
to go through all your documentation. They need to actually talk to your doctors. Your doctor has to be willing to talk to them, and work with you or work with them, and it's a complicated process. I mean, if you've walked away from Western medicine entirely and just gone, I need to do it this way, it takes a small amount out, but you still need to be able to talk to the person's doctor to make sure that you've got that kind of thing happening.
No problem, Nancy.
Yeah.
That's critical too, because I mean, I know a lot of people who just say, "Well, the doctor said I got to do this and do that," and like I said, I'm getting to the point where I'm going to be 70 years old, and I refuse to lay down. I refuse to stop trying to be active. Now, sometimes the bones say, "I don't think so," but the frame of mind has a lot to do with you also.
Yeah.
So I mean. Do you want to be just held down with all different kinds of medications? Go see a doctor, and they cannot cure you. They cannot help you with a 10 or 15-minute visit. I'm sorry, they just don't.
They can't. You have a lot of bone issues and a lot of tendon issues and stuff like that, and I am aware that you don't take a lot of medications, but I'm also aware that you've got other health issues as well, right? But I also know that you're doing what you can to, so yes, I could possibly turn around and say, well, maybe you could try this.
Right.
Right. Would I do that? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But I would prefer to know more, and that would be, between you and I, whether you wanted to give out that information or not. There'd be a lot involved there.
And I think I would want for you to know more.
Yeah.
To do the right thing, because and in some people's lives, okay, it is now or never.
Yeah.
Type of situation with it,
Absolutely, this is it. And people don't look at herbal medicine first. They don't look at natural therapies first anymore. And that's what we used to do. We used to go to natural therapies first and then go to Western medicine. We don't do it anymore. And that's an issue, because we're now going to that. We're almost going backwards, because we're finding that, we're having to, because Western medicine isn't working.
Right.
Or it's being pushed in a way that it's just no.
Yeah. And you can see trends, okay? Like you had mentioned before, now everybody's diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Why? Because it's a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Cancer, certain cancers, and stuff like that. Now, all of a sudden, you don't hear too much more about these certain cancers.
No.
Right? And it's like going around in a squirrel cage. I mean, just running around and running around.
So, 5 or 6, 7 years ago, everyone was being diagnosed and given gabapentin or Lyrica, depending on where you were living. And I think there's a third name for it now as well. They even tried to give me it.
Yeah.
I took it for 3 days and I went, you can have it back. And he's like, yeah, but you're supposed to take it for a month. I said, I ain't taking it for a month.
Now,
and then well, why? And I said, well, because I'm a zombie. I can't take it. I can't be left on. I literally could not be left on my own because I was unsafe to be left on my own. I was having blackouts. I was going zombified. I literally could not pull myself out of bed if there was a fire. It just was not going to happen. And I just couldn't function. And then because I didn't do my research, of course, I didn't even take my own advice, because sometimes the doctors just throw things at you. And because you're at that point where it's like, can you please just think of something,
Yeah. I had the same problem with they did a catheter in me in Florida. I got to the point where I couldn't walk. I mean, I walked with a cane because I broke my leg in 2014 in 4 places. hardware in it, the whole bit. So now
Yeah.
I go down and I go see the doctor. I say, hey, look, I need to get back to normal here. This stuff is just something's going on.
Yeah.
Well, he said he looked at me. He said, well, with your stature, I guess he was trying to be nice to me. With your stature and everything, I think we should do a heart catheterization. You might be blocked. Okay, so you're naive to the point of what they're
Yeah.
saying. Okay, and the problem was as he went in. Okay, he was going up and through, and I could feel it. You're awake, but you don't feel anything. So he said, Tom, I'm going to put in a small stent. He said, I'm seeing not heavy blockage, but I'm seeing anywhere from like 40 to 60%. And I'm saying to myself, which is it? 40 or 60%. All right.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put the smallest one in, and that's why I'm on the medication I'm on now. Okay. So then it starts the statins and all the other crap that goes along with it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it just I don't know. But the problem is he told me, make sure you go do the low carb, make sure you get back, try to get your life back doing this, blah, 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 blah. So at that point, I felt pretty good after, having this done. So me and Maria sitting in this little Italian restaurant. I had a glass of wine, and a slice of pizza, and as I'm just getting ready to put it into my mouth, who comes walking through the door but my surgeon? And he says, he come right over to me, put his hands on my shoulders. What are you doing here? He says, oh, you can have a little of that. No problem. I said to him, the question is, don't worry about me. What are you doing here? You're handing out information left and right to people.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, come to find out, I didn't need it. I didn't need to have it. And now here I am strapped with medication. So
yeah. And that's the issue. That's the issue right there. They do things and then they don't tell you how to deal with life afterwards. Or they take things out. Like I had my gallbladder removed. Could I have gone and fixed it with diet? Yes. Did they give me that option? No.
Yeah.
Of course, when you collapse in the doctor's office and, you become unconscious for the next 18 hours, they kind of take things into their own hands. So, but, that's left me with a situation where if I want to do keto, I have to do plant-based keto. Because I can't do the fats. I can't do the animal fats because there is no there's no bile duct. There's none of that there to, break down all of those fats.
Yeah, and see that's another issue that I have also with there again, just starting this. Okay,
Yeah.
You got to know what you're doing with it because it's very easy just to turn around and say, hey. Guess what? I'm doing keto, and this is the reason why I'm doing it the whole bit.
Yeah.
Not that it would hurt you, but you got to know your body. You got to know exactly what's working for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what I tell people is you got to eat clean. Everything I do on my channel, I do real clean. But yet I fell down a rabbit hole, and I'm fighting. I'm trying to get myself back from that right now because you know what I did? Keto bread, and I know better. There's no such thing as keto bread. Okay. But I fell down that rabbit hole. Okay?
Yeah.
This is okay. I'll get back on the horse again Monday. I'll do this. I'll do that. Anyway,
But we all do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And people don't realize how hard it is. They think, I can do this or I can do that and what have you. The problem is that your brain doesn't understand the difference. It thinks that you're trying to hurt it. So it's going to fight against you because you're not giving it what it's used to. So
Bingo.
it basically acts the same way as it would if you, for example, stop drinking or stop smoking, which I did in March, by the way. I haven't picked up a cigarette since March.
Very good.
So, is it hard? Yeah. Do I sit here some mornings and think, oh, my God.
Just before I quit. Just before I quit, I was doing 5 packs a day.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
I used to roll my own, and I'd go through a 50
So did I, but
gram.
not cigarettes.
Well, I'm not saying. I ain't saying.
But
But a girl's got to have a medication, okay?
I quit 16 years now. It's been 16 years since I had a cigarette.
Yeah,
I guess
see,
a couple
I
weeks.
was with it. And the
Couple-
thing was that in like September last year, we had a friend that went to Spain. So he brought back a big carton of tobacco duty free, sold it to us. That was fine. That was going to keep me going till, February-ish. No, it must have been earlier than that. It must have been about July, because there were like six pouches. And one of those pouches, I'd got to the point where that would last me a month.
No.
A month to 5 weeks, so I wasn't smoking a lot, but I was still doing it. And then my son, who got his job in November last year with his first pay packet, bought me a tub of like 100 grams, which is 2 of the pouches, to say thank you, Mum, for looking after me when I wasn't working. And so between the two of them, they kept me going until March, end of March, almost April. And then it was like, do you know what? I'm so bored with this. What am I doing? I'm not even enjoying it. What am I doing? So I just stopped. I just said at the end of all this, I'm done. But I needed to get through it all.
Oh, yeah. And this, I quit, Blue, I quit, I think 3 months prior to me getting diagnosed with bladder cancer. And another main course of bladder cancer is smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. But I quit like 3 or 4 months before that because I was having issues, and I was pushing it off. The other day, when I'm not the other day, a couple weeks ago, me and Marie get in the car. We're getting ready to go food shopping.
Yeah.
Okay. I get in the car, and you know what I do? Look for my cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's been 16 years.
Yeah.
So very hard. Very hard.
It
and
is.
That's why.
That's what people don't understand about addictions, because I've worked with people with addictions and stuff. I'm actually working on a project at the moment to do with addictions. But that's completely separate, nothing to do with YouTube. So, it's people don't realize the mental part of it. They just think, oh yeah, no, you just stop. Well, actually, stopping on some of them is quite damn dangerous. And you could kill people doing that, so which is why we're kind of writing what we're writing at the moment.
Yeah. And you're 100% right, because you know what? You're very cautious with it. And it sometimes it sucks to be that way, because you know exactly what somebody should be doing for their health, but you can't say anything because you'll get in trouble for it. I mean, it's just,
absolutely. And I am very cautious. I'm very cautious, like when I'm looking after people, and I'm very cautious what I say.
Yeah. Because
I can't say 80% of the stuff I want to say.
That's why we're discussing this on the Sunday Dinner Chef, by the way. Because if I did this on a keto channel, I would probably get shut down. And that came across my channel not too long ago also about.
Can I just address something that Mad Wood said just before about them wanting him to walk more, but he's had 4 knee surgeries and arthritis, right? Okay, there's this amazing piece of equipment that I use because I'm not allowed to walk. I'm not allowed to go anywhere on my own for full damage risks things. So I use a God, it's sitting out there and I can't remember the name of it. It's like a mini trampoline thing. It's a mini trampoline, and all you have to do is that with your feet. That's all you have to do. Is that. It's what they use in NASA to strengthen up the astronauts before they go away, and to bring them when they come back and they've got no muscle mass. They use that. There is almost zero impact on your bones and your joints and stuff. Okay, so having one of those is really, really good. And you only have to do a minute. I do a minute, an hour. And it keeps, and also because you're doing this and there's no impact, it also opens up your lymphatic system. So you end up having lymphatic drainage. But don't get the ones that have got the springs on them. You need the ones with the bungees on them. Okay? They're amazing. Yeah, they are really, really cool. And, you know, that will help out. Like, you won't believe. Seriously.
Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How, doing research for different herbs and stuff like that to find out.
Yeah.
How do you tell bogus books from others? That's a problem.
How do you tell bogus ones from others? Okay. Okay, so genuine people will be verified. Yeah, rebounder. That's the one, Shade Tree. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a rebounder. Thank you. Okay. The words is hard this time in the morning, can I just say? Yeah. So okay, so the accounts that are verified, if you're on Facebook or something like that, it would be accounts that are verified. Someone who actually knows what they're doing is going to be doing it every single day. One of my absolute favorites is She of the Woods. She's teaching people how to do it, but she's also teaching them all the bad side effects and stuff like that. Now, if someone's just teaching you, they're not going to tell you who should and shouldn't take it. Okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's amazing, and she has a YouTube channel as well as her Instagram, etc. And this is her life. This is what she does. You know, she's all in. The ones who aren't genuine, we tend to call them like fluffy bunnies. Mm-hmm. They're kind of all new agey and witchy and stuff. Which, you know, there's nothing wrong with being new agey and witchy and stuff, but they tend to be like, it's a little bit too much. do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's the you know, you say you go to a music festival, they're the ones with the herbal teas.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it's like no, I can't possibly be drinking tonight. I'm having herbal tea. Well, you know, why are you at a music festival? Stop it.
And that's basically what I go through with the keto channel. Okay. Yeah. I turn around and tell people, hey, look, this is not going to work for you. If you're going to go buy a box of keto, whatever, keto marbles, they're not good for you, because all it is trying to make money.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Eat this, eat that, and you know, get a broccoli, look at a broccoli, try to find the ingredients on it, and that's how you cook it. I got a lot of pushback from it. I mean, I get a lot, and I don't care. I really don't care. But this has actually saved my life so far with it. But I fell down a rabbit hole. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you've got something that works for you, keep doing it. Whatever it is, if it's working for you, do it. You know, don't let somebody else go, oh, but you can't be doing that. That's not going to work because it does this. No, it doesn't for me.
Marie, write that down, please, for me.
You know?
Okay, I'm trying to write it down.
Where's the other one? The other person that you can go to for natural therapies and how your body works in ways that you probably didn't realize before, is Barbara O'Neill.
Okay.
Now she's an Australian. She was my mentor while I was doing my my dietitian's degree.
Okay.
Okay, she was my mentor. I had to go and work with her for 6 months. Can I just say that there is so much genuine brilliantness about this woman? She's an absolute genius. And she has been vilified, unbelievably so, because she was helping so many people. Then her husband decided that he was going to start a political party in Australia. So they couldn't get him, so they got her. And that's why she's not allowed to teach in Australia. She actually had to leave her country to be able to teach people how to be able to live. Now, she has got a site in the US, actually, Living Springs, I believe it is. You know, she's amazing. You can actually go there and do the stuff that they do. She's not always there because obviously she's around traveling and speaking and stuff like that. So she goes everywhere she possibly can to teach.
Now, I want to be perfectly clear with everybody so that everybody understands where I'm coming from and where Bloos coming from.
Yeah.
We are not doctors or anything.
No.
This is just from my experience of life, keeping me above ground. You know, somebody had said to me,
qualifications, but I am not a doctor.
Right. I have a couple friends of mine keep saying to me, I'm one of your 6 friends. I said, I hope you're going to be carrying me by the handles when I need you. But I see the bogus stuff that goes on. And I was brought up, okay, in a family where you respected the doctor.
Yes.
Whatever the doctor said, you make sure you did the whole bit.
Well, absolutely, because they're supposed to know what they're doing, right?
But now, okay, I'm looking back at things and I'm saying, wait a minute, this is crazy. I mean, you know, how many people are they hurting? Actually, are they hurting? You know, so I don't know, just to put money in their pocket and stuff like that. I'm not bashing them. We need doctors by all means when it does hit the fan, but everyday life to make yourself feel good. You don't need to be on some of these medications just because you have. Here's the one thing that gets me. Okay, you are pre-diabetic.
Yeah, which means that you're insulin resistant.
Okay, but my doctor, the guy who told me to get my stuff in order, he said there's no such thing as pre-diabetes. Either you have it or you don't.
Well, that's pretty much what they mean by pre-diabetes is being insulin resistant. You can be that for years and years and years before you get to type 2 diabetes. So in a respect, yes, he is correct. Yeah. But it just depends on how you want to word it and use the words.
Yeah.
It's a tomato thing. Do you know what I mean?
And what they did to me was they sent me to an endocrinologist who, now I'm dealing with the bladder cancer stuff, put me on juicing.
Yeah. Gotta love that. Yeah. Have a cup of sugar water. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, they told me to use a red beet, green apple, 5 carrots, okay? Slam that down, and then when you get done with that, okay, do kale, collards, and I believe it was some other stalk or something, some other thing for me to...
Yeah.
Holy moly. I lost a lot of weight, let's put it that way, but my sugar went through the roof.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, if you are going to do juicing, you don't want just the juice. You want the fibers in the fruit as well, fruit and veg. Right. And you want more veg than there is fruit.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's, they tell you to juice. They just don't tell you how to juice because they don't know it themselves. They're expecting you to just go to the juice bar and get what you can, right?
And come back in a month.
Yeah, and come back in a month. But the stuff that they've got at the juice bar is all of the fiber and the stuff that's actually going to help you get rid of the sugars and digest them is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, like, who eats 5 carrots? Do you eat 5 carrots at one sitting? I could do it if they were that big. If they were the little Chantenay ones, I could think about that. But not carrots. I don't sit there and eat 5 carrots. I might get half of one of those if I'm lucky. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a big girl, but I can't eat like that.
But I told her, I said, after I had the 5 carrots, she said, well, how did it go? How did everything work? I said, it needed a little vodka in it, but other than that, it was okay. She said, did you have any side effects? I said, well, my wife said in the middle of the night, I got up and I started hopping around with 5 carrots in me. I mean, so, I got away from her as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And like I said before, and the woman who turned me on to the Ojibwa stuff, I went to see the chiropractor.
Yeah.
Okay. And no, don't do that. And that's when they started pushing the other stuff. So it's sad. And like we're almost like hamstringed as far as trying to explain how we're doing stuff. And Blue, I got to tell you, I'm doing this. I'm going into this 4 years doing it. And I feel like because I went down the rabbit hole with keto this, keto that, could try it. I told Maria, I said, I know it's bullshit, right? But I am going to give it a try anyway because you know why? Poor me, I can't have bread. Oh, I can't have this. I can't have keto ice cream. Get the hell out of town, keto ice cream. Right? But I hurt myself. I really actually hurt myself.
Keto ice cream. How does that work?
I mean,
how does that work exactly? I mean, like,
it's no sugar added, and they add oil to it.
Why would you add oil to it when it's only supposed to be like dairy, maybe an egg?
So you buy a half. I think it was a pint, small pint. Okay, it was $8 and change. Where you could buy over here, you could buy a gallon of ice cream for $4. So that's the rabbit holes I'm talking about.
Okay, if you want ice cream from now on, that's keto, right, and is gut friendly, you get some milk that's marked down from the shops, right? Just proper milk, whole milk, whatever. And get it while it's marked down because it's like, it's starting to, get it home, make some yogurt. All right. It takes you 30 minutes to make yogurt. Okay.
Yogurt, yeah.
Yeah. So 30 minutes of your time, the rest of it is sitting there in a blanket or in the dehydrator or somewhere, it's sitting there somewhere, just staying warm. But you don't have to sit there and look after it. And then you add whatever flavoring you want to that and stick it in the freezer.
Now,
there's no sugar in it.
Yeah. I have in the past took heavy whipping cream because when I drink my coffee, I don't use milk because of the lactose. I don't use skim milk. I use heavy cream. I don't use half and half either. But I use heavy cream. And I'll take that and I'll put it through the processor. Okay. And I'll have it that way. It's just whipped milk and stuff like that. But I mean,
well, that's the thing. This is the thing that people don't understand about dairy as well. Okay. And I might be a bit controversial here. And I'm going to say it, right?
Roll with it.
85% of the world's population is lactose intolerant.
That's right.
Okay. 85% of the world is lactose intolerant. Why? Because we've grown up. We've gone through a natural system of being weaned. Our bodies and other animals become naturally lactose intolerant and casein resistant because when you're being weaned, you don't need milk anymore.
Bingo. Not controversial. Not controversial at all. I totally agree.
You have a look at people in Asia. Asia and Africa have the highest rate of lactose intolerance in the world. Why? Because they actually wean their children. Do you know what happens if you don't wean your children? Their brains don't develop. And as women, if we continue to drink milk and for the calcium, we end up with higher rates of osteoporosis. We end up with our bones crumbling. Men end up with osteoporosis and their bones crumbling. Why? Because there's actually 62 different minerals and stuff to make up your bones, not just calcium.
Yeah, and see here in this country, okay, we are told less fat, better off you. Well, what they forget to realize is that if you're 60 years old and you're drinking skim milk, you're drinking nothing but sugar. That's it,
Well, that's
nothing
the
but
thing.
sugar.
And this is what I don't understand, right? Okay, so if you're going to drink milk, drink whole milk. Why? It's only 3.2% fat. 3.2%. Okay? Semi-skimmed is
Yeah.
2.4% fat, and skim milk is 1.2% fat. What is the point?
So in this country, xanthan gum is legal, okay, to
Yeah.
use, okay, and raw milk you can't buy it. It's illegal to sell raw milk.
Yeah. Oh, we can't buy raw milk over here unless you know the farmer.
It's almost insane. The insanity.
Unless you know the farmer or you produce it yourself, you can't have raw milk. Now,
Yeah.
the point, I will hold my hands up. My name is Blue, and I am a cheeseaholic. Okay, I am a cheeseaholic. Okay, I should be kept away from cheese and cheese away from me. It's very bad for me, and I shouldn't have it. But it's so good. Okay, I hold my hands up.
It's
But-
Gouda.
It's Gouda. Yes, it is. But
Put the air on, please.
it's like everything. The thing is, as well, I don't think a lot of people realize this, right? But there was a massive push back in the 70s and 80s for everybody to drink milk. Why? Because the dairy industry in the US was producing 5 times too much milk and dairy for the market to cope with. So now they've got these giant cheese caves in the US.
Yeah.
Where they take the excess dairy, turn it into hard cheeses, and fill up these caves. So you've got these massive caves of hundreds of thousands of cheeses that nobody is eating, that is left in there, that farmers are paid for their dairy excess. And,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
what's the point?
I'm watching a series right now about cattle ranches in this country.
Yeah.
Okay, which they're falling way back. Now, there's a guy that I'm talking back and forth with him right now about just sharing them out and stuff. But what he does is he was he had a feedlot.
Yeah.
So his capacity was 15,000 head of cattle. Buffed them up and then shipped them out to to be slaughtered, whatever.
Yeah.
But he made a great point because he turned around and said, because once they went boxed meat, all right, there was no more need for hanging cattle.
No.
And that did away. But what this guy does is, this is what I like. Everybody in that small town, I believe he's in Kansas. Everybody in the small town in Kansas, if they're different growers, okay, they make breads, they make cheeses, they smoke meats and stuff. He sells at his place.
Yeah.
Okay. And he said 90% of it stays there.
Yeah.
So he had one guy say to him, "Can you send me out your stuff?" He said, "No. Do this yourself. Save your town." I said, well, there you go.
That's it. If more people in smaller towns and outlying areas of bigger towns got together and started putting pressure on the supermarkets and other sellers, etc., who are buying imports and more expensive things, and if the farmers are able to drop their prices somewhat to make it viable option for people will go to them.
Yeah.
I rarely buy things in our local supermarkets. I do it for like dry store pantry stuff some of the time, but it's mostly tins and canned stuff. that I put away in our cupboard for just in case, right? Most of the time I can find it cheaper online anyway. Most of our dry store pantry stuff like herbs, spices, grains, legumes, all the dried stuff, I get online because it's cheaper to buy in bulk. Yeah, exactly.
And you're perfectly fine. That's the problem. I mean,
Yeah,
this guy, he wanted to become a lobbyist for the meat companies, not against them.
yeah. But see, it's also looking at how it's happening. You know, that what we know as industrial farming at this point was only invented in the late 50s, and it was actually Jamie Oliver's grandfather had a lot to do with this. Okay. It was him who was very hands-on in creating barn or caged chickens.
Jamie Oliver is the world's leading or largest
moron.
Well, you know what? He makes a lot of money. He is a lot
he does
of
make
money.
a lot of money, but he makes it on the backs of other people that he doesn't really like. He's poisoning with his rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, we have major issues with Jamie Oliver over here. Major issues. Okay. But anyway, it was his grandfather who was part of this. Now it was supposed to be only there for 5 years. Why? So that after rationing, there would be a better food supply.
Wow.
Okay. That we would be able to have people have the food that they've been missing for the last X amount of years while war had been on. All right. So it was only supposed to be there for 5 years. Then the farmers decided that they enjoyed all this extra money and they decided to keep it going. So everyone talks about, oh, yeah, well, I'm just doing what my grandfather did. Well, your grandfather's only doing it because he got paid by the government to do it.
Yeah.
You know, the government here now is paying people to have grass in their fields and nothing else.
When I lived in North Carolina, we had, like I said, 17 acres, and down from us was an older gentleman that I became pretty good friends with, who had a turkey farm. They raised turkeys, okay, and he would get 3 shipments a year, okay, in a year's time, before Thanksgiving and then post Thanksgiving, start raising them again, and. The big one back then was, I believe, I can't remember the name of it anyway, Tyson. And what they did was they turned around and paid him so many he had 5 turkey houses and raised these turkeys. So he had a guy that worked for him. And this guy would go through the turkey houses, pick up all the dead ones, take them out. If their percentage, they knew what the percentage was. Okay. All they did was use this guy's property to store these turkeys and fatten them up.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they would come in, regrade everything, get all the toxins and stuff out of there, the whole bit back and forth. This guy told me square business. He said, Tom, I don't eat turkey ever again. He says, because the way they're raised.
Yeah.
Their food, their birds, and if he went below, I think it was like 10% or not even 10%. But if he went a certain level, he got docked.
Yeah.
And all he did was just go in and pick up the dead ones. They didn't do nothing for him. So as soon as you start mentioning money with all this kind of stuff, that's when you run into trouble.
It's wrong as far as I'm concerned. I mean, like, it really, really needs to stop. And we need to go back to the rotational grazing. As our great-grandparents did, and being stewards of the land, of looking after your soil. Because if you're not looking after your soil, that's how deserts are produced. Now, in Australia, we have the Big Red Desert, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's massive. It's also 75% bigger than it was when man first arrived 200 years ago.
Oh.
Okay. That's because they brought European farming methods over to a country that had an inch of topsoil.
Rabbits.
So they started ripping the trees out, and they started ripping out everything that actually had some kind of way of holding onto the topsoil. So instead of
Wow.
working with that, they started ripping it all out, and then wondered why there was a bigger desert and why they were having problems. Now there's a school down there that is actually working to reverse the desertification on properties, etc., and start and they're doing it by replanting the areas. Replanting the old creek beds and stuff like that with plants that would have been there back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they're finding it's working.
I have, you might know him too. I don't know. Charlie, Cooking Secrets for Men. Charlie now does podcasts. Okay. But what he does is he brings in community leaders that are helping Milwaukee. Okay. And he had a girl on, she was, I would say mid-20s, I would think.
Yeah.
And from all this junk and garbage that's been going on, she went into some rough neighborhoods, okay, and sort of talked to people into start growing their own food.
Yeah.
Okay. And they brought in somebody who knew, the farming techniques and how to do it and what to do with it and everything. And they started out with all pots, and built, different things to keep it going. And this thing took off. Now, here's the kicker. Not a vehicle, not a car, but she would drive a bicycle, load up baskets, and take it to people who couldn't get out of the house, and donated this fresh vegetables and stuff back into the neighborhood again. Yeah. And it is thriving. It is doing so well.
But see, that's the thing. Communities are, if you have a community that works together, that is a strength. That is more community coming together and more people coming together. And that is what a lot of social media and stuff is trying to avoid. Yeah. We have a situation over here, for example, where there have been riots in a town not that far from here, where I go fairly regularly. And my personal friend, is actually one of the councillors on the town council there. He's one of the councillors for that area, and he was right in the middle of it, and he's being vilified by certain members of the press because they haven't done research and they're just using it as an excuse to cause hatred, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
No. So
rat bastards.
It is. But what they didn't say was that the community of all these different people from all kinds of different backgrounds were actually getting together to stop these guys from making it worse.
Mm-hmm.
They were putting themselves on the line to stop what was going on. Not to make it worse. And they've been working with the communities ever since, to stop it.
Well, my whole, this is why I like having you on, is because you get a different perspective from where you are compared to where we are. And you know what? It's not that far off.
No.
It really isn't that far off.
Back in the day, I must have been about 8 years old. My dad turned around to me and he said, and my dad was one of the assistant secretaries for the defense in Australia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew what he was talking about. And when he said something, you listened and you clocked it and you kept it. And he said back then, and this was 40 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that, but this was 40 years ago. Okay.
Who's counting?
He said then, you can only believe 25% of what you read in the papers. The rest of it is rubbish.
Yeah. It's an agenda. I come to the thinking of, I grew up in New Jersey, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm the youngest of 5, okay? Yeah. And every night there was 8 of us. My grandmother lived with us, and my mom and dad, and the 5. Yeah. So there was 8 of us every night for dinner. My grandmother she would actually peel 5 pounds of potatoes every night. Okay. Yeah. And becoming, a chef, we were taught you need a starch, a protein and a vegetable. Also, don't forget to push the bread. Don't forget to get the dessert. Okay. That's, dessert is where you make your money and stuff. But every night we had a sit down dinner every night. And then Sunday, this is why this label here, the Sunday dinner chef, comes into play, because that was the happiest time of my life when everybody, because I was left alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other four got married, and there I am, oh boy, here we go. But the whole premise was that you sat around the table and you had dinner, you ate, the whole bit.
Yes.
My older brother, his wife, when they married, her family had a truck farm.
Wow.
They had 60 acres and they grew everything. Okay. And they go, and then Saturday morning, they would fire up the trucks and run into New York, Philadelphia market. Okay. And that's what they did. That's how they made their money off of 60 acres. They grew everything. I never heard of rhubarb before in my life. Okay. And Brussels sprouts, all this kind of stuff that you didn't see in the stores, but they grew everything.
Yeah.
We lost that. We've
lost it. And it's really sad. I mean, like when my kids are at school, and my kids are like, I've got one in their late 20s and one in their sort of early to mid 30s, right? When my youngest was at school, he had kids in his school and his class that didn't even know what a celery was. Didn't know what a carrot was. And they thought that meat magically appeared on the shelves of the supermarket.
Bingo.
Whereas my kids, I made sure that they grew up on a property. My kids had no question of where their food came from. And they knew exactly where the food came from.
My father, Marie's dad, grew everything.
Yeah.
Grew everything. Ate everything.
Yeah.
He even ate Marie's cooking. I hope she don't see it.
Feel free to slap him, Marie.
Hey, she went, hey, she just caught it. Yeah, but and I guess that's, I don't know. I guess I'm like starting to sound like the old guy, get off my lawn type of thing. But
well, yeah, but that's okay, because you're not wrong.
I think it's important, okay, that we do this, and just like tonight we head out with the herbs and stuff like that, and I'm hoping that everybody checks it out. Look into it a little bit more rather than take that vitamin over the counter that you're paying way too much money for.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, there's an issue with having too many of certain things as well.
Yeah.
And people go, oh yeah, well I need to take vitamin B, and it's like, well, which one?
Yeah.
Which one, love?
Yeah.
They do go up to like 15.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Well, yeah, which vitamin B do you need to take? Oh, well, I think it was something like 6. Well, okay. Well, if you're taking 6, you need to take 12. Why? Because if you take too much 6, you're not going to have any 12. Because it's going to override it. But if you have to take 12, you still have to take 6. Why? Because you can't actually digest 12 without the 6. And then they start getting confused. Because the doctors won't tell them any of this. They're just like, oh, well, you need to have this and you need to have that. But they don't tell you why. And they don't tell you what to do if certain things happen. They don't tell you the whole story. They tell you a part of it. And it's like, just stop.
That's like me. That was like me with the juice. I mean, I actually needed to make sure. I told Marie, I'm going to be gone for a little while in the bathroom. I mean, that hit me like a ton. I mean, you didn't think so. And you would think that, oh, well, you know what? This is all good for me. Too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
But see, this is the thing. We don't eat the way we used to, even as kids anymore. My parents, it was meat and 3 veg on the plate every single night. There was nothing in there that came out of a packet.
Yeah.
My mum was probably one of the last ones to realize that you could buy cake mix in a packet. So if she was going to make a cake, it was always made from scratch. She saw it as, she only bought them when she got her first microwave.
Okay.
Because they suggested that you had the packet mix to go with the microwave.
Yeah.
Because normal cakes wouldn't work the same.
See, now I'm of the
What?
age. Yeah, I am of the age. Okay, of when stuff like Tang became popular.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Where we were, it was Raro, because we were in New
Okay.
Zealand at the time, and it was Raro. So it was very similar to
Exactly.
Tang.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
don't forget the cereals. Kellogg. Okay.
yeah.
Or eating Wonder Bread, because I would tell my mother in the store, almost tears in my eyes, we got to get Wonder Bread because it'll build my body 12 ways. you
Yeah.
know,
Well,
you know.
see, my mum had this rule that if it was on the TV, we didn't have it.
Yeah.
And I was like, looking at it now and looking
She
at
was.
it back when I was early as a parent, I was like, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
It does
It
because,
makes so much sense, you
and
know?
I'm on this channel here. I'm doing a series from foods from 50s, 60s, and 70s.
I
Okay,
love that. I love that series. It's brilliant. I mean, I've
going
seen that
back,
you're doing one of my favorites this week. So I'm like, oh,
going back and looking at the stuff, I'm saying, holy moly, look at this. All
yeah,
right. Swanson TV dinners. Okay,
yeah,
that was another thing I got. My mother used to carry a little strap in her pocketbook, so if I
yeah.
acted up in the store, bing, she would have no problem cracking my ass, and we'd move on from there. So,
My mum
uh,
took a wooden spoon in her bag. And if we were out for a meal, it would be on the table. Wham!
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Dang.
So, I mean, we were test pilots for. I mean,
Yeah.
my generation, our generation, had the first TV dinners. Sit around
Mhm.
the TV, watch dinner.
Yeah.
Eat dinner and watch TV that way. I mean, just
My,
nuts.
my, I was kind of lucky with mum because it was like her idea of a TV dinner. She got the TV trays, but she cooked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
So hers
like
was
I
like,
said,
we're not sitting at the table, we're sitting on the trays. That was her
after
idea of a TV dinner. And that was like, yeah, okay.
after my grandmother had passed, that sort of fell by the wayside because they both worked. My mother was a cafeteria manager for the schools in the district.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we made sure that we had the right stuff to eat and everything. But hey, that's when I started dabbling with the cooking and going that way like that. But
Yeah.
then I look back on some stuff some crap we ate was just like horrible. I mean, just
Oh, yeah.
so.
I think my dad, I think, had a lot to do with whether we got takeaway food and stuff like that, or like ready meals as we know them now, or TV dinners back then and stuff.
Yeah. Good night,
Because
Simon.
the first time that I ever knew that we had Chinese takeaway that we didn't have to go to the restaurant for, my dad took half the kitchen with him. He had to take all the pots and pans with him so they could fill them with your order.
Really?
So he could bring it home. Yeah, there wasn't takeaway containers. They didn't have them. They didn't exist.
Oh, that's
When
funny.
he went to the restaurant, they were doing takeaway as long as you took your own containers. So he took the pots and pans because by the time it got home, it was probably cold because he'd had to go across Canberra to get it.
That's funny. So I love that.
And it's
I really
brilliant.
do.
Absolutely brilliant. When the first takeaway pizza we got, there wasn't boxes for him. They gave him the tray. They charged him like $10 for the tray that they cooked it in, but he had to bring it back because that was a deposit.
Wow.
So he had these pizzas in their trays that they'd been cooked in on the back seat of the car.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To bring them home. And it's like, everyone goes, oh, but your generation this and your generation that. Well, hang on a second. Actually, can I just say, we weren't the ones who did this. We weren't the ones who started this. We weren't the ones who did all that.
Yeah.
And we certainly weren't the ones who perpetuated it.
We never, very, very rarely did we go out anywhere because they cooked everything at home.
Yeah.
And my father was a tough guy. He didn't take too much crap from anybody. Okay,
Yeah.
so even if the older brothers were married with their children,
Yeah.
he would tell them, "You have got to come to dinner. I am
Yeah.
not going to say it again,"
Mm.
and they would show up. Okay, but then after a while, like I said, once my grandmother passed, because she would help out with the cooking and stuff. But once
Yeah.
we started, my mother said to him, "Enough, it's Sunday dinner."
Yeah.
She started to kill me. Well, now I'm working 7 days a week, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But the family deal is over as far as I'm concerned. Uber took over.
Yeah.
Uber Eats, and you don't know what
Uber
you don't know
Eats,
what you're getting.
Netflix, Deliveroo, they're the main three over here.
I'm going to tell you a
And
quick story.
we do use them, not going to lie. We do, but very rarely now. We used to use them a lot, but no, not anymore.
When I was laid up, when my knee blew out, okay,
Yeah.
Marie doesn't drive anymore because she's nervous. So I don't want, forget about it. So now I can't get out of bed. I can't walk. So we're starting to need stuff in the house. Okay.
Yeah.
So I did Instacart.
Yeah.
So I put down on the thing, you look at the store that you want them to go to and blah, blah, blah. So they had a sale on for jalapeno peppers for 99 cents.
Yeah.
I said, I want one pound. Okay. Well, when the bill came, I put the card on it. When the guy delivered it, Blue, I almost fell over. I started laughing so hard. They sent me one pepper. Not a pound, but one pepper. And they had the nerve to charge me 3 cents for it. They weighed it out. Yeah. So we laughed at it. So once I got back up and moving around again, we didn't do that anymore. So
yeah,
I like to go pick out my own stuff. I like to look at what I'm doing, what I'm getting. So we're going to wrap this up in a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that your credentials on what you do. So please check her out. I mean, she's got some great videos. The one today really made me think, really started making me think about doing, kind of stuff like that. Now I make my own sausage and stuff, but I don't put casings on it anymore. For the two of us, it doesn't pay.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. For me to go through.
If you're producing your own pig or beef or whatever, what I don't understand is why people go and buy half a pig, but they don't want all the rest of the stuff. Right. So if you've got all like the intestines and stuff like that, that's the casing.
That's right.
Doesn't cost nothing. Right.
You know. What gets me here is that there are sheep farms around here. Okay. Yeah. But lamb is very expensive. I mean,
it's always expensive. This is okay. So this actually started. Can I just say the price of lamb as we know it now started in Australia, and it started, I want to say 25 years ago during the droughts, the major droughts that hit Australia. Okay. Now at that time, we knew sheep farmers because we were living on a property. I was bringing up my kids on a small property. We had 2 acres. It wasn't huge. It was manageable for me and my kids, okay, because I was on my own. Farmers were getting $1 a head for their lamb from the supermarkets, okay? The said same supermarkets were selling those lamb in the same town for $27 a kilo and citing the droughts as the issue for the price hike.
You're gonna fall over if I tell you right now.
Prices have never ever dropped. They've never dropped. Never.
I've seen a 2 pound boneless leg of lamb.
Yeah.
Okay. Look about that big. $61.
Yeah.
$61.
A decent leg of lamb over here now, and a proper size one. I don't mean, see, there's things they do over here, which is really annoying me. They sell like what they call a leg of lamb, and it's half. It's either the top half or the bottom half, and it's like, that's not a leg. You can't call that a leg. But then they'll sell that for $20. But if you go to the butcher's, you can get a full leg, like the hip part and all of that, proper leg, for, I think the last one we bought was 35 quid. And it was a decent size, because the other thing is that they're trying to get rid of the lamb very quickly, because obviously they don't want to put the money in to raise it because they're not getting the money, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means that we now have lamb that's under 6 months old.
Yeah.
Okay. So all the cheap lamb is anywhere between 2 months and 6 months old.
Right.
Well, lamb is supposed to be 12 to 18 months old. Mutton is 18 months to, I think it's 3 years.
Yeah.
And anything over 3 to 5 years and over is hogget.
We can't find mutton here. That's how bad it is.
Mutton? Halal butchers is where you
Yeah.
will find the mutton. Is halal butchers.
Yeah, there ain't too many. There's not too many of them around here, and I guarantee, okay, that. Now I'm going to places that are like organic stores and stuff like that. Okay, there is a farm. There is I guess a farm you want to call them in Montana that'll ship it to you, but it's there again. The price is ridiculous.
Yeah,
completely ridiculous. All right, well, all right, everybody. I do appreciate this, Blue. Thank you so much. Great talk, great topics.
that was great fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed talking to you. I enjoy your knowledge. So with that, maybe we might do this next week, or we do for time that we might do for you.
It's fine. And look, seriously, it's fine for me. Because I'm up at about 2:30 anyway. It's
okay,
just because at that point I'm just in robot mode. I have to get up, put the kettle on, and then I go and make Tanny's lunch, and then I kick him out the door. And then I come in here and I wake up. So you're getting me at the wake up stage. I'm awake now.
That's good to know. I told Maria, I said, why am I doing it? 7:30 is like, I'm like this.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, see, I get that because I'm in bed at 8 o'clock because we get up so early. We're usually in bed at 8 o'clock. So, yeah.
That is fine. I do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for stopping in.
Okay.
Excellent day. Okay, everybody. Good night.
Night.